First would be Bill Williamsburg. He's our library board chair. He's also the deputy mayor of North Stormont, and currently he's the warden of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry, which is the upper tier government, level of government that we work with, okay, and which is kind of oversees what's going on with the county library, as well as the roads department, provincial health department, planning for the United Counties, etc. Okay. Second, Jeannie Gagnon. Jeannie is the vice chair. She is a public appointee, public trustee to the library board. Barbara Letiniemi is a public trustee as well. Barbara's actually joined the library board quite recently, filling a vacancy that came after the end of 2012. Janet Mills. Janet is a public member. And Jim Locke. Mr. Locke is the deputy mayor of South Dundas, and as well as being on the library board. Now, there are two other library board members that were not able to be here with us tonight. One being Chris McDonnell, who's the mayor of North Glengarry, and Eric Duncan, who's the mayor of North Dundas. Okay, as well, I've got a few X's here on my list. A few X's here. Eric Keeson, who is the communications and marketing librarian for the Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry County Library, was not able to be here as well. She would be doing this presentation, and maybe I'd be pushing the button, getting the slides moving onward, but she's not able to be here tonight, so I'm kind of doing it on my own. So please bear with me, and we'll do my best for you, okay? So without further ado, I think we'll get started and give you a chance to see what we put together for you, okay? This presentation is to address the concerns of the residents of the Township of South Dundas about the upcoming Morrisburg and Williamsburg Library branch consolidations, and to tell you about our plans for the new library in Morrisburg. To begin, here are some large points for us all to consider. Changing demographics are placing increasing pressures on the sustainability of rural communities. Populations are aging, and young people are no longer staying put where they grew up. Work, school, healthcare, and even worship are also causing an increasing movement of people into urban areas. As a result, rural communities have to find creative ways to sustain themselves. There are factors affecting rural sustainability. These include dominant rural employment, which is small to medium-sized manufacturing and services. Technology, which now supports more telecommuting and working from home. And many rural residents commute to a city for work or are self-employed. The SD&G County Library is facing similar challenges to our sustainability, and we are looking at new ways of providing the best service we can, while knowing that in doing so, there are difficult decisions that have to be made. One of the tools that help libraries in Ontario to determine how we should invest our resources are the ARUPLO guidelines for rural and urban public library systems. ARUPLO stands for Administrators of Rural and Urban Public Libraries. Some of these guidelines include a minimum population required to support a branch library is 1,000 people located in the catchment area for that branch. Each branch should generate a minimum of 8,000 circulation transactions per year. The location of branches should be determined by the catchment area and their proximity to other community or commercial centers or services. And best practices recommend having a branch within 30 minutes travel time by car. According to the guidelines, public libraries now operate increasingly in a 24/7 environment. The single greatest barrier to library use, as reported in Community Needs Assessment, is time. A public library exists to positively impact the lives of the community's residents. Library hours must be accessible, and the hours of operation for a system like the SDG County Library, including virtual hours, have begun to approximate a 24/7 model. Have to begin to approximate a 24/7 model if they are going to meet public expectations. And just if anyone is interested, I happen to have a couple of copies of these root book guidelines with me tonight, so you are welcome. Just coming to ask me, and I will give you a copy of the guidelines. In 2011-2012, the SDG County Library Board created a new strategic plan to guide our activities from 2012 to 2020. This plan, done after consultation with the community, key stakeholders, local politicians, board members and staff, and other experts, identified a number of issues that threaten this library's viability. And the strategic plan makes several recommendations for change. While the SDG County Library has some dedicated users, the proportion of use by the entire population of SDG is very low. Many residents, including current users, think of the library in a very traditional manner. South Dundas has 1,269 active library holders in 2012. That's the entire township. Now this is only 11.75% of the population. With changes in technology, societal values, and fiscal challenges, the county library needs to re-examine itself if it hopes to become a more relevant part of the SDG community, including the municipality of South Dundas. By implementing the 4 pillars of the library's strategic plan, the SDG County Library strives to be reinvented as a catalyst of creativity and as a hub for interaction and engagement that will contribute to the social and economic success of the community. To make the strategic plan operational, the library board needs to make some tough decisions. With so many small, understaffed bricks and mortar branches, the library remains fragmented. We need to consolidate if we are to have any hope of succeeding in achieving the goals set out in the strategic plan. If we do not make changes in how we operate, the county library risks sliding into oblivion. Here are some sobering statistics about how the library is doing in South Dundas. As library service is a partnership between the township and the counties, we're just looking at South Dundas, which is your municipality. Over the last 2 years, we've seen a substantial decrease in borrowers overall. It's not restricted only to South Dundas, but for the purposes of this gathering, this is what we're focusing on. We've also seen a decrease in new membership registrations. On the other hand, we are seeing new growth in community and commercial services offered here in Morrisburg. This reflects a growing trend that has been identified in other economic development indicators. So the library needs to adapt our services and programs to meet demand from the current library users, as well as anticipate the future needs of our patrons. Change is necessary, but change can be good. Library services are provided throughout the United Counties as a partnership between the county library and the townships. county library provides services, staff, collections, programs, information resources, etc. And the townships provide facilities for the library. To date, the arrangement has been dependent on whatever space is available. But this has proven to be only somewhat successful, as many branch locations are often off the beaten track or inadequate for library operations. I could go into much more detail about that, but suffice that to say. Now, thanks to the generosity of the Township of South Dundas, the County Library has an opportunity to create a modern, well-designed, and accessible space for all current and potential patrons. This will be accomplished by bringing together two underperforming branches to create one new and welcoming branch facility in which users' present and future library needs will be met. Sharing the same location, entranceway, and public spaces as the new municipal offices and the St. Lawrence Medical Clinic, the new branch will be a very busy location and will increase the library's visibility and bring people in. Actually, I just want to point out, if you haven't already figured it out, this is the architect's drawings of what the new facility, or what the new building is going to be, with the township offices, the medical clinic, and the library. And the library will be this. Located next to the Morrisburg Public School and near the St. Mary St. Cecilia Catholic School, will also offer better access to library services from this area's young people. We expect to see anywhere from 300 to 500 people a day coming in through this building. Although the square footage of the branch itself is going to be smaller than this existing facility, the washrooms and the foyer are being incorporated into the new building. Therefore, the library very closely meets those Arupo guidelines of 3,200 square feet to serve a community of this size. While reallocating our resources and investing in change and growth, the library has kept its 2013 operations budget at its present level. The library has reserved funds for purchasing appropriate furnishings, much needed shelving, and updated equipment for the new Morrisburg branch. This new branch will showcase what a modern public library can and should be. A center for education and information for the public, as well as a forum for presentations, or a place to simply sit, chat, and read a book, or take advantage of the many services that the county library has to offer. This is an example here of what the new branch may incorporate. This is the Yardley branch of the Lennox and Addington library system, and was designed by the same architectural firm that is designing the Morrisburg Collegiate renovation. I should also point out that the size of this facility is a bit smaller than what the new branch is going to be, but quite similar in some of the infrastructure, like the windows and the dimensions of the which is why one of the reasons we chose to showcase it here. Another shot shows you the computer stations and a comfortable reading area. And here you can see the circulation desk, which actually has an area for accessibility. People can come up with wheelchairs or children's strollers or whatever. I also want to point out, we went on a field visit to this library to have a closer look at what it would look like. And we asked some hard questions of the staff there. And one of the things we learned is that this branch, although it is about 2,000 square feet, has almost 12,000 this new branch in Morrisburg, the library is putting its strategic plan into action by reallocating resources into increased hours of operations, in double staffing at peak times or during the evenings, and in new program and in community engagement initiatives. We are responsible for ensuring the well-being and livelihood of our staff, and our plan means that no staff member is going to be negatively affected by this consolidation. We take that very seriously. The new Morrisburg branch will be open between 41 and 44 hours a week. Currently it's at 35 hours. And will include some double staffing, which will reflect that the school is here, the medical clinic is here, and the township offices will be here. And so there will be additional daytime hours of operation. At busy times, there will be at least 2 staff members to assist patrons, check out your books, and answer your questions. Library programs are created by branch support clerks at the county library. And this is done during their regular shifts when the library is open. And that's not difficult to do effectively, while also working the circulation desk and serving patrons. By having periods of double staffing, our staff will have time to create and implement a whole range of new programming initiatives. Some examples of programming that we will be implementing are more one-on-one computer and technology training during double staffing hours in the evenings, helping kids after school with their homework and the database workshops, and seniors programs, book talks, and coffee, and movie matinees. We will also continue the partnerships that we've already established with the Ontario Early Years Centres and with the Eastern Ontario Health Unit and other branches in our system, and we'll start offering preschool story times in Morrisburg. The new location also offers excellent opportunities for expanded outreach. This is particularly true with seniors outreach, with the medical clinic in the same building and the Hartford next door. The library will continue to offer our visiting library service to Williamsburg and Morrisburg retirement homes and to individuals who are temporarily or permanently homebound. Improvements to the visiting library service is a 2013 priority project for the library system as a whole. The library will also be continuing outreach to local schools, including the Timothy Christian School, St. Mary, St. Cecilia Catholic School, Iroquois and Morrisburg Public Schools, and the Seaway District High School. Many multi-branch systems serving rural areas across Ontario are also seeking creative ways to provide services to a variety of different communities. For example, and not too far from here, the North Grenville Public Library consolidated 2 of its 3 branches in 2010 and has had over 100,000 visits in 2012 compared to 22,000 in 2010. 62% of all North Grenville residents have a library card, including over 3,000 new members since 2011. Their one library branch now in Kemptville gets as much traffic as all 18 of our branches combined. A role of public libraries is to assist in the collection, organization, and dissemination of community information, and to maintain a community information and referral service. The SDNG County Library is making an investment in new technologies to provide easier access to information of local interest through a program called Community Profiles that lets community groups create profiles and listed events on their own unique page within the library's catalog. As an integral part of community services as a whole, public libraries also work with local agencies in the delivery of programs and resources that encourage literacy. The SDNG County Library will also continue its partnerships with the Dundas Interagency Committee and Linking Hands Dundas. We also have continued to work with the township to discuss offering future services that help them, including registration for the local green food box program. Thank you very much for listening and for showing your interest in the SDNG County Library and for being part of this conversation. So I'm kind of in a position to moderate and receive questions. If I can't answer them myself, I'm quite willing to pass them on to someone that I think might be able to answer for them. And I'm open to hearing what you have to say.
I have a question from someone in Williamsburg wanting to know if the library gets closed in Williamsburg, what will happen to the historical books relating to Williamsburg?
Historical books relating to Williamsburg, if they are owned by the library, we will make accommodation for them here in South Dundas, probably in the new Morrisburg. And I'm saying probably only because I don't know the extent of that pleasure.
Can I extend my question?
Sure.
The documents that are from the land registry office.
Yes.
They're here in the library now.
Yes.
Someone else asked me to ask this question. Are they going to be in the new library, and are they going to be accessible for people to look at?
The answer to the first part of that, did I answer the first part?
Yes.
Okay. So that second part of your question is the land registry records. They aren't ours. They belong to the township. And because we are moving into a smaller space, we will not have the physical space to continue to store them. However, we have been talking with the township, and we have been talking with the architects, and everyone is very aware of the value and the importance and the need to preserve and keep accessible those specific items. If anyone's not had a chance to see them before, they're quite special. They're just in this section over here right now, and that it's not an archival environment for them at all. So they really aren't at their best.
No, they're being stored.
Kept. They're just being stored as they store, old books in a closet somewhere. But we have spoken at length with the township and with the architects to try to ensure that there is a proper, considered archival way of storing those items and having them accessible. Hopefully there will be space in the new collegiate, the township offices area that's dedicated to that. I can't speak much more to that, but we certainly have done our bit to impress upon the township and the architects the value and importance of it. Okay. Yes?
This is my first meeting of the library issue, and from what you've said, it sounds as if this is fait accompli. Am I right in that assumption?
My understanding, and I am responsible for the operational implementation, it is a decision that has been made, yes.
Was there ever any consideration given to, now this is in conjunction with council, with the revenue coming in? I understand TJ Leger is going to be moving into the Williamsburg facility, and maybe someone from council here could answer this. There will be income coming in from Leger using the building, and there is an empty community entire building in Williamsburg that it would be revenue neutral rather, if the income from the Leger School went to the library community within the Williamsburg area, and they undertook refurbishing and moving the library and have 3 months to do that. Leger's happy, township is happy, there's still a facility there in the villages. We were at a meeting last night, and the medical community have trouble keeping or enticing young doctors to come to this area, and they need things to attract them into small villages and to stay there. And the Old Canadian Tire is big enough to become a community center and a library. This would have been a council decision, not a library decision. Council is elected, you're appointed, I believe. I just feel that it's all been preordained, and people haven't thought outside of the box, and not that I understand exactly your presentation, but I go back to democracy and Robert Baldwin and LaFontaine, responsible government for the people, of the people, and by the people. And council was, each of the council members are of the community. They were elected by the people, by the constituents, and their job and responsibility is to work for the people. And this is not your department, this is council's department. And I don't think council has held their responsibility and their job for the people of Williamsburg. I'm brand new at this. I don't live in Williamsburg. I used to live on a farm. I'm new in town. But it just seems as if the whole thing is just a little off whack. And it's food for thought for everybody, but if it's fait accompli, I thank you for the time and for your presentation, and I'll disappear into the distance.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Sorry, excuse me, ma'am.
You're asking for a comment from your council members, but they've agreed to be here just in an observant role. Sorry, I've knocked it. You've asked for a comment from your council members, but they agreed to be here in an observant role, to observe and hear.
Oh, I see.
It's not fair to them. They've agreed to come out in that respect. The other thing with what you were speaking to, they do have a responsibility to the other 10,000 people that are not using the system, and to try and entice them into using the system. So what the usership being as low as it is.
I would use the library system personally, but I love old books. And every book in our house, we have over 2,000 books. And I haven't got a book that is new. I guess my newest book might be a 1980 book, if I hunted for it. So libraries don't fill the need of everybody. And so there are many people in the community, perhaps of the same way. I just feel very sorry for a village that does not have services to offer to those taxpayers.
Karen, if I might, I'm not going to get into the discussion.
No.
I will make a statement. The issue will be discussed at council meeting on Tuesday night. It will be on the agenda.
All right, thank you. All right, fine, thank you. I don't mean to upset things. It's just a distant observation. I just thought it was, yes.
You might
Yeah, actually, are you talking about our alternative service deliveries? Okay. The branch is closing and leaving, but the library is committed to providing alternate service delivery to the best of our abilities within our operational limitations to the people of Williamsburg. We're going to be continuing to offer outreach, book deposits to people who aren't able to make their way physically here to Morrisburg or to any of our other 16 branches. And we have actually been negotiating with a merchant in Williamsburg to provide a book deposit service so that we would have weekly drop off and pick up of materials. And as well, as we mentioned in the presentation, we're in more of a 24/7 technological, so we can actually offer fill requests that are placed on our online catalog. And anybody who wants to place a request, whether they walk into the branch or do it from the comfort of their home, has to do it on a computer now. And so we will continue to honor and fulfill requests by people that in Williamsburg, to the point of delivering materials right to the village center. So we are trying our best to offer services in an alternate delivery form to the local people in Williamsburg.
With that being said, I'm sorry, is this going to be out of a 9 to 5 area? What about the people that work in cities or are nurses that can't get, let's just say Whitaker's Meat Market is going to be the drop-off. They're not open. Well, sorry, they open at 8. What about the ones that have to get kids on the bus and then rush to work? They work in the city. They don't get home when all the establishments in Williamsburg are open. Whitaker's closes at 5, 6. The garage now closes at 6. When would be the right time?
Businesses are open on Saturdays as well.
Sorry, I'm a nurse. My job doesn't stop on Friday. You know, it continues on. You know?
Currently, I mean, the library is open 15 hours. Actually, I looked at some records today that said when it was first started, it was open 10 hours.
And the statistic about Kemptville Library, I did my college in Kemptville. I'm one of those statistics. I was a college student. I got a library card when I went to college there because it was handy when I was right there. So I'm one of those statistics. So that statistic shouldn't even be added because that was for 3 months. 3 months when I needed that library. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah, Karen. I just have 3 little questions here. I just wondered, will your new Morrisburg branch have new wood shelving or metal shelving?
It's going to, well, I honestly don't know because no purchase has been made, but in the branches that we have refurbished, I think as you may know, we have South Mountain, Avonmore, and Ingleside branches in the last 5 years have been refurbished, and in those cases it have been metal shelving, which is adjustable with wood ends, which kind of encasement that make them more aesthetically appealing and offers potentially some shelving and signage to it.
Thank you. So it's probably
That's kind of the industry norm now.
Yeah.
And they are much less expensive, expensive
it will
than
be.
all wood shelving.
big time. Yeah. Now, will the desk area be similar to your picture presentation there? That was the one you had there?
Yes, in Yorkburg.
Yeah.
Some quite similar. We actually looked at that desk and we had purchased a new desk for Lancaster branch, and we got something quite similar to that, and was very pleased with the end result. And it fits the space much better. I mean, it's that one was fully built, so we probably would be attempting to achieve something that isn't quite as customized, because again, the price goes up. But it is important to consider various heights. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to have an handicap.
Yes.
Or little people.
Yes.
I'm always thinking dollars. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking how much dollars. Because I remember we went through that a couple of years ago. We had 2 desks that were enormous expense. So that's an answer, but not quite an answer because I didn't ask you how much, and it's none of my business yet.
I do
And
not
you
know.
don't know. Yeah. Now, do you have any idea what the cost would be from the library budget to relocate Williamsburg and this Morrisburg branch to the new branch?
The moving costs?
The moving costs, yes, what would, to relocate all more Williamsburg's stuff here?
It'll be largely staff time done during normal staff working hours, so that cost is already built into our operations budget. As far as renting a van or a truck or a number of vehicles, whatever, to do that. In the past, we have made use of United Counties Roads Department vehicles, and finally, as long as we book them well in advance and coordinate that, they usually lend them to us at no cost whatsoever. We have, at one time, we did rent a cube van when we were distributing furnishings from one distribution spot. So that was a full heavy day. That involved the library courier and myself spending the full day out moving in and out and setting furniture up in the branches. So at that time, it was the cost of a cube van plus a relief driver for the courier. That was what was involved with that. So we would try to assume a similar model because, well, I know it works. I'm not afraid of hard physical work, and as is, most other people are working at the library, we know how to get in there and bless them.
I did say I saved 3 questions, but I should have said 4. I'm sorry. If I've been
The
permitted.
woman behind you will be scowling at you.
I know. I just want one more. Will all the literature, all the books from Williamsburg come to Morrisburg?
The vast majority. Now, it's normal. The normal part of the library operations, and I'm not going to hide away from this, is that part of collections development also includes collection deselection. That has not been done in the library for the last 2 years, for the most part, because we've just been short-staffed. We have not had the time of day, enough time of day, and enough bodies to actually do a proper deselection. We are undertaking that right now. We've finished 2 branches. We've got a 3rd branch, one that you know very well, that is getting a proper deselection process. And that is going to be done. It will be done here. It will be done in Williamsburg. And when that process is finished, then we know how many books we have to box up. Now, it may prove to be better for people's borrowing and browsing and whatnot to move some of the books from here to some other branch in our system, as well as some of the books from Williamsburg to other branches in the system. At the same time, I'm doing the same thing with books in other branches and moving them to here. It's just part of how we move the collections around to keep the collections on the shelves as fresh and as interesting for our borrowers as possible. That's, in a nutshell, that's how the whole deselection and reallocation part goes. Plus, we continue to purchase items for all of our branches. Yes?
Since you claim that fragmentation is an issue, is it your plan to downsize to 1 branch per township?
No.
Why not? Or is it just Williamsburg?
Well, I have no plans myself at all, but I do know that it was decided, the motion was passed just within the last couple of months that no further discussions or decisions on closures or consolidations would be undertaken during the mandate of this library.
So it's just Williamsburg?
At
this time.
That's the only place where fragmentation is an issue.
No, that's not the case at all. It's just that's where the decision has stopped at this time. Would anybody on the board like to discuss more on that, further on that, or I answered it fully enough? Okay. Yes.
Well, I think, excuse me, but I think that this lady probably deserves an answer from someone on the board. If you have laryngitis, then...
Oh, I don't want to answer.
Well, go ahead then, please do.
The strategic plan was completed in 2011. I'm repeating a lot of the people who were here were in Williamsburg last week. And it recommended, and I'm also a politician, it said we should only have 6 branches in the whole system. And I said, I know as a politician, there's no way all of the councils are going to come all of a sudden, close all the libraries and spend $3 million in 6 different townships.